Welcome back to Cherries Extra. Now, this is a video I've wanted to do for a long period of time now. And it's a video that, I'm hoping will bring some closure. I've never really spoken too much about this. I have tried to battle it. But I think, it is time for a video about this. But firstly, the subject of this video is about the Cherries Trust. Now, I am not going to mention throughout this video any names, but anybody who is in the know will know exactly what I am referring to and, the situations that I had to deal with at the time. So let's firstly look at the Cherries Trust as it is today. Um, I have to give massive credit to everybody involved because I think what is being done now is excellent. And what I mean by that is the Luton situation, the travel that has been put on for their fan base after what happened to Tom Lockyer. Thankfully, he's okay. And hopefully one day he'll play football again. We shall see. We shall see on that front. But a lot of credit has to go to the Cherries Trust for that. A lot of the credit has to go for all the things they're organising, along with Talking Cherries as well. So that's the first thing. The Cherries Trust, I think, are in the best position they have been in the past 4 years. Now you're going to turn around to me now and say, "Well, you was part of the Cherries Trust." Yes, I was. Yes, I was. But do I wish I was part of the Cherries Trust at that time? No, I don't. No, I don't. No. And I'm going to explain exactly why. So I joined the Cherries Trust back in March 2021. Now, a lot of people have thrown up the question when they discuss about me joining the Cherries Trust, was I a full paid up member at the time? Um, and I'm going to be completely honest, I wasn't. But I was naive. I didn't really know what was what, to be honest. I was recommended for the Cherries Trust position by somebody who does run a popular AFC Bournemouth YouTube channel. And there's no issue with that person. I think what he did was thinking, well, it might be something that he might be quite interested in. Um, I had at the time a very good following on social media, and I still do to this day. um I'd already done some excellent shows, was really enjoying the YouTube side of things, and it made sense. Social media was probably my forte, and that was where you know I could have really helped. So I had a first initial conversation with this person, and I said, "Yeah, okay, I'll help out." Now, help out eventually become, "Yeah, you've got the gig, you've got the social media gig, that is yours now." Um, Now, I didn't, like I say, I was very naive to what had happened before March 2021 in the Cherries Trust. I didn't realise it wasn't in a great position. um, I didn't realize that it wasn't particularly liked, um, and I've got to be honest. I made a mistake by joining at that time. I'd rather be a member of this Cherries Trust nowadays rather than Cherries Trust, which I was part of. Um, and one of my first suggestions was, right, okay, let's start getting videos done, communicating what the Cherries Trust do, where the money is going, and what we're going to be doing in the future, and maybe a little bit of a fans forum where people can ask questions. Now, I am not the best, and anybody who knows me will know this. I'm not the best at putting things into words and writing. Um, My spelling is atrocious. I've spelt our former chairman's name wrong on numerous occasions, and let's be honest, that's you know I'm told that that's very difficult to do. Um, so you can read between the lines with regards to spelling, things like that. You can read between the lines. I'm not gonna go into that side of things, but how I do things is I do things via video. And that's where I feel most comfortable. Talk things through. Talk about like when I do videos on here. It's so much easier for me. Um, and I am, although I am I would say a fairly decent social media user. I'm not a big social media user anymore. And I took this role. So one of the first things was with regards to video. Now, straight away, the chair of the Cherries Trust shot this down in flames. You know, every suggestion I had, which, suggestions were really, really good. Some things to, get fans involved, participation. It was just being shot down in flames. There was already, mentions of mm, this person joins, they're not getting in. It's like, well, no, this is a platform for everybody. You can't choose who you want in the club and who you don't want in the club. This is a platform where we need to speak and listen to everybody, and everybody has got to appreciate each other's opinions. Um, that was my view. That wasn't shared by the trusts, um, chairs, chair of the trusts. So yeah, that went on for ages. On numerous occasions, I was considering stepping down from the Cherries Trust because I didn't feel that the Cherries Trusts, represented me. I didn't feel that I had a say in anything that the Cherries Trust did. Um, I felt that, I was effectively being put out as a figurehead, but with no backbone, no say. Maybe I should have pushed back. Maybe I should have grown a bit of a backbone. I didn't. I am a big, at heart, I'm a big softy, and um, people have found that to probably be one of my weaknesses, and that's why I do get so much trouble. Got to be honest. It's easy to assault and attack somebody who isn't really, you know, nasty in any way at all. I have very rarely flipped out at people, and but I and people will know this who know me personally. I'm one of those people that if things get tough, I go into my shell, but it gets me down. Um, and yeah, I become a very, very big target for a lot of our fan base. And this big target, started when I joined the Cherries Trust. Should never have joined it. Should never have joined Trust at all. And there was a situation that broke the camel's back, but not before I tried to actually resolve it. So cast your mind back to the summer of our promotion. The fixtures were announced, and on a bank holiday Monday in May, we was given the fixture of Leeds United at home. Now, unbeknown to myself and the rest of the trust, the chair of the trust then went to the local police and made a report that this fixture shouldn't take place on this day. Now, I am not saying that that is wrong because, again, that is an opinion of somebody. That person had every right to go to the police and say, look, I don't feel comfortable with this fixture being played on this day. That person made a rod for their own back because what they did was then they put the police's response on social media. Now, if you imagine, if you put it on social media, it is going to get the attraction, firstly, of the Bournemouth fans, but also the Leeds fans and the rest of football as well. Now, there's been things that have been doctored about me, and just to park that there for a moment. There's been things that have been doctored about me where, I have covered this in some detail before. Now, that fixture was, well, now 34 years ago, but it was 32 years ago at the time. Um, it was awful what happened that day. I wasn't there. I was 5 years old. I was just a kid. But, don't get me wrong, from what I've seen, it was horrendous. It was unacceptable. It was disgraceful. It was hooliganism. It was everything that is wrong with football. Now, I made a comment as well, and this was one of the parts that was doctored, was that I, you know, like Leeds fans. And to be honest, the Leeds fans nowadays, I do. You know, I've gotten very, very well with a number of Leeds fans, and I've got friends that are Leeds fans. And at the end of the day, I don't need to explain, the reasoning behind that, but the Leeds fans have always been okay to me. That's not dismissing what they did that day, what that was wrong. But those people that I know and I have spoken to weren't there that day themselves. The people that were there that day. Now, let's say, most of the people that you saw were 20, 30 years old. You fast forward 32 years, they're in their 50s and 60s, those people. So is it fair to actually keep that grudge against, a whole fan base when, it was so long ago? It's fair to say people can be bitter about it and people can report it to the police and so on and so forth. But, at the same time, I don't think it's fair to turn around and say, Leeds fans, they're a horrible bunch, they um nowadays. And I think it's it's one of those things that will always stick in people's memories, and it was wrong. But at the same time, the time has been and gone, and hopefully there's a lot of good things. Now, of course, the Leeds supporters group wasn't very happy with this. The Leeds fans weren't happy with this, and the Bournemouth fans weren't happy with this. Now, the Leeds fans, to their credit, I took over because after that was posted, the chair of the trust kind of washed his hands and he said, "You deal with it." Now, remember, I was trying to deal and organise a lot of things for Cherries fans throughout this whole time, and my time with the trust, and I was unable to really. I was unable to. You know, all the good ideas were just getting shot down, and it was just frustrating for me. It's just absolutely frustrating for me. Um, and then we come to that situation where I've just been put in the. You saw it. You deal with it. I had to. I wrote a statement. With regards to it. And tried to detract from the situation, managed to calm down a lot of the Leeds faithful, apologised to a number of people. I organised a meeting with the Leeds United Supporters Club Trust, who are a very nice bunch of people. Again, very, very nice group of people. I organised that. Let's park that as well. And of course, I had to deal with the Bournemouth fans. So the Leeds fans have accepted it. They know that I'm not the same person that's writ what they have. The Bournemouth fans, not so much. I was getting questions with regards to the amount of members the Cherries Trust have. Now, I didn't know at the time. Again, I'm social media, but I managed to find out those figures. Now, before we let's cover off that point first. Beforehand, I asked for authority to release those figures because I didn't want to do that behind anybody's back. Because that is me. I don't want to do things behind people's back. And I was told straight up no. And it got quite narky at that point, where it was like, you don't release those figures. Don't you dare release figures. So I turned around and explained that some of our fan base didn't understand that. And it got very, very abusive from certain people. I had the T word thrown at me, F word thrown a number of times, C word. Um, what else did I get thrown? I got a mild threat as well. Um, and one person in particular grabbed some pictures of my daughter from Facebook and started using it as his profile picture and putting it on his profile, and things like that. It got absolutely out of hand. Um, and then the second part was the financial figures of the Cherries Trust at the time. I do not know exactly what was in there. I don't know anything about the finances at all. Don't know anything about the finances at all about from that time. Never saw it again. Social media, um, and I was getting abuse for that, not knowing that. So yeah, that was very, very hard to take, very difficult to take. Um, where else do we go? Um, I got asked to resign on a number of occasions. The chair got asked to resign. The whole board got asked to resign, which I, not because of those requests, but I chose to do anyway. I'd already been thinking about it. I knew it was hassle. I knew it wasn't fun for me. I knew I had kind of joined the Cherries Trust under false pretenses, and now I was just thrown to a pack of lions trying to sort something out that I didn't have control over. So that was me. I walked away from it. Um, I managed to do what I did, um, and I walked away. And then at that point, I think it was about a week later, two people, again, I'm not going to mention any names, then got involved. Now, one of those people have always been all right with me. The other person um, was somebody who was quite rude, quite nasty at times. I've got to be honest. And they come in, and I could have told them that they were never going to get anywhere with what they were trying to resolve at the trust. They weren't going to get listened to. They weren't going to get listened to, and so they didn't. They didn't get listened to in the end. And yeah, that was no surprise that 6 days later that they walked away from it as well. Um, at this point, an AGM was called. I understand. Like I say, I was out of it at this point. I'd kind of washed my hands of it. The fans were still getting quite abusive with me. Um, Even though it was quite upsetting, really, because I didn't know what to do. I was just somebody who was a figurehead and somebody's spokesperson, somebody who was just trying their best. Um, in awkward situations, whatever I suggested wouldn't be listened to. Whatever um, whatever I tried, would be shot down. And then when shit hit the fan and the chair made a mistake, I was thrown to a pack of lions and just left to fend for myself. This is what our fan base don't really appreciate. um and the good thing was you know I think it all changed hands. Now, I did get involved in Cherries Trust after that. I kind of just ignored it. It was nothing to do with me. Didn't know, pay any attention to the people involved, what was going on. I know there was a letter that was signed by a number of people, including the one that actually recommended me, the two people that were come on board, and a number of people that have been quite abusive and aggressive since. Not all of them. there's been some people that signed that were really nice. And to be honest, if I was given the chance, and I would have probably signed that myself and said, yeah, okay, I think it is time for a change. I've seen what it was like. I've seen, how it was handled, and, go from there. Um, and then, of course, this new trust has come on board. And then there's all sorts of weird things that have happened since. And, it's always made me wonder. It's made me think, why? Why is this all happening? I think it all boils down to the Cherries Trust. You look at the accounts that have been causing and whipping up issues, they all follow a path of, a number of accounts that were created by somebody before that time. And I've only just figured this out. I only just figured this out. Again, I'm not pointing the finger or blaming anyone, but what I am saying is that the accusations and the abuse that I got, and was completely and utterly unfair. It was completely and utterly unfair because, let's be honest, the day I walked away, well, no, it wasn't the day I walked away. It was the day that the two people walked away. I put out some messages saying, look, I'm not surprised. I could have told you this. This is the sort of situation I had. Thank you for trying. I even said thank you for trying to these people, even though one of the people had been really horrid to me beforehand. And the chair actually, verbally, got quite abusive, told me to F off, um, called me a C word, and, walked away. And, of course, this is all in the past now, but it was not nice at all. It was not nice at all. Um, and, since I've had accounts, that have been popping up, abusing me, attacking me, ones that have, been accused on me, even though I don't know what the foggiest they are. The first I find out about it is either somebody who is a friend direct messaging me, somebody, pointing it out and tagging me in it, or that, I see it floating around, the AFC Bournemouth community, that this account is, oh, this account's Craig, and it's got to be him. It's got to be. And at the end of the day, I don't have a foggiest what's going on. Um, but it's all come to me because, I know, as a matter of fact, there was a number of accounts that were set up by somebody, by a person. And saying, I know that there was a number of accounts set up by somebody, around about that 2021 time, that all follow the same path as what all these stupid accounts are nowadays. There was one the other day that was calling me ET for wearing glasses. You know, Thanks for that. Thanks for that. I wore my glasses because of a medical condition. Thanks. There we go. It's even got a bubble on it. Um, it's just ridiculous. Y- you cannot make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. Um, there's ones that have been abusing other people, and I think is wrong. That is disgraceful. I think it's disgraceful. The ones that are trying to whip up storms. I was accused, and I don't know the whole story of this, so bear with me. I might not have all these details right. So we played Brentford, from my understanding. Now, I didn't go to that game because I was in Weymouth that day. um and I saw the result. on my phone, and that was really very much it, really. Um, and that Brentford game, it was just after I'd got back actually, from abroad. Um, After that Brentford game, there was a comment put up by somebody. I'm not again not going to name any names about Brentford's manager. Now this went round like wildfire, as everything does on social media. That is slightly controversial. Some people might say is fun, but yeah, it went round social media, and it was ridiculous. It really, 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 really was ridiculous what was actually going on. So um, it was put on some Brentford page or something. I understand, and then to there was a report to this person's work or something, and then something about a newspaper or something. I don't know. I honestly don't know, but all of this was accused on me, and I did, and this is one of probably my failings here. I did, off the back of seeing that, seeing it and picking it up afterwards, said it was the wrong thing to do. It was a wrong comment. It was a bit, distasteful, and maybe that person needs to apologize. you know no, nothing more than that, nothing more than that. But of course, whipped up a storm, got everybody against me. That's what was wanted by somebody. That was what was wanted by somebody. You pick, I'm like I've said before earlier on, I am not, a strong, forceful person. I go into my shell. Everybody, it was just like attack, attack, attack over something I just didn't know. If we go back to, when I had that meeting with the Leeds Supporters Trust, you know, I got on very, very well with them, and, had a really good conversation. And it was just going to be me and the lady who was in the trust. And then a gentleman come in from the Leeds Supporters Trust, and I said, yeah, that's fine. Um, and I explained at the point, this was just before I left, this was the reason why I left. I said, look, I'm having a conversation with the Leeds Supporters Trust. I'm coming into this meeting. So just leave it with me. No, 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 I'm coming in. So naively, I invited this person in. And it was a case where I was talking to them and explaining, and had some really good ideas, and they were really nice to me. And one of the ideas I was suggesting, I can't even remember what it was, and the chair of the trust started going, no, 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 basically turning around and saying I was not allowed to suggest anything. In fact, the meeting, which was meant to be 50% of myself, 50% of the lady and gent from Leeds, become a case of 90% the Cherries Trust chair at the time, and 10% of the people from Leeds. It became an absolute farce. Nothing was achieved of it, and I felt really embarrassed and sorry. To put the Leeds Supporters Trust in that situation. Um, but like I say, um, I think somebody had it in for me for some time, and it's all coming together now. I'm not making any accusations, but all I would say is it's not me. Never has been me doing anything. I have my account, and I have my channel's account. Um, and I have called out people on separate account at times. I'll be honest with that. I have, because I don't want to dirty any of my accounts, but secondly, I don't want to see it on a day-to-day basis. It's upsetting. It's upsetting when you haven't done any of this. In this country, you're innocent until proven guilty, and I haven't done any of this, and yet some of our fan base continue to actually attack because I was part of a Cherries Trust that was defunct, from the very start. Um, that I had no saying, I had no way of achieving anything in because I wasn't allowed to achieve anything. Um, you can understand probably why I'm a little bit frustrated. And I could have been, let's be fair, the person who could have helped this group, helped people in the past to actually achieve what they wanted to achieve. But I was never given the chance, and I was dirtied from day one, um, and abused and attacked. And if you look at all these weird accounts, and this was something I was figuring out last night, they've all got numbers after the names of these really weird accounts. But also, if you look back at some of the accounts that, you know, I'm hinting to from pre 2021, those also follow the same context. Now, it might not be at all. But at the same time, one thing I can assure you, it's not me, it's never been me. I've just been the scapegoat. I've been the one that everybody's been abusing. Do I wish that I ever joined the Cherries Trust? No. I was naive, made me feel important, made me feel like it was something I could contribute to. Um, and it's kind of tarnished me a little bit within the community, but at the same time, it never was. It never was me that did anything apart from try to firefight, try to suggest new ideas, and just try and generally be a nice bloke. And that is what I'm guilty of. It's sad. It's sad. Deeply upset and a little bit heartbroken with our fan base. Um, that was my story of the Cherries Trust, and where I think that this is going. I'm delighted to see the Cherries Trust doing well at the moment. I hope that it keeps going from strength to strength. Again, I don't know too much, but again, I think the people that we've got in now are firstly independent from the ones that were in before or after I was, um, because a lot of them caused a lot of grief for myself. Um, but secondly, I think that this group have got it right, and yeah, it's a story I've always wanted to tell. It's my story. It's what I feel. You know, um, I'm not bad mouthing anybody, but what I am saying is I had no influence. Had no influence. Could not um, reflect anything, and I just gave it my all. Um, and unfortunately, when you're not being listened to and not being, that's not enough. Um, but it is what it is at the end of the day. And the abuse I got was completely unwarranted. I even had, somebody. Um, well, I can tell you the actual account name, the Twitter account name of this person, because you don't have to go far to actually find this one. Um, but if you type in Cherry Bear, everybody knows how to spell Cherry Bear, all one word, 991, you go to that, and then you scroll down. There is a comment where I'm replying to somebody um, after the Everton game, and it gets quite abusive from this person. It says, just like burner phones, I don't have a burner phone. I've got one mobile phone, one mobile phone. Um, and this person, October the 7th, 2023, you are a complete twat, Craig. Give it a rest with GON. But then I don't think this person is who has been named, but this person, even the font follows the same path as all these other silly accounts that are coming out, and we know which ones. We know which ones. Again, I'm not going to name, but there is a number of accounts that are coming out. Um, that's my thoughts on the Cherries Trust. Long may it go from strength to strength. It's a shame I'm not part of this new Cherries Trust because I think they're doing a good job. But in the long run, who knows? Who knows? But hopefully, I can eventually get the reputation back that was ruined by not being listened to, people not understanding me and not understanding what I was trying to do. Um, it's deeply hurtful, really is. I'm not going to say anything more because, you know, grown men of 55, 60 years old should really know better than to abuse somebody who they didn't really understand. Um, yeah, sign this off.